Man, I paid to have mine bored, line hung, and everything. I didn't get mine back with freeze plugs in it.
Yeah, he hooked me up, man.
You did a good job, man.
Hey guys, what's up? Out here at the shop working on the Dragon, getting some of the engine parts together. Gonna take them over to Darrin's and start working on the engine. I gotta go pick up the block from the machine shop. They cleaned it. I'm also gonna clean some parts here before I take them over to Darrin's, just get some of the junk off of them. That's what we're doing. More Dragon stuff coming soon, so hang on. We're just letting these parts soak. This is the timing chain cover, and it's nasty. We got the valve covers, timing chain cover, and a few other parts in here. Just getting them cleaned up, letting them soak in here. Parts cleaner, and scrubbing them a little bit with a brush, trying to get this junk off here. And I might put some of these in Vapor Blaster once I get all the grease and oil off. You don't want to put that in the Vapor Blaster, it'll clog it up. But get all the junk off, and then you can blast off the rust and get it ready for paint. All right, guys, we're getting there. We're getting the parts cleaned up. We're gonna get the Dragon back together. That's the plan for the next couple months, however long it takes. Darrin's gonna help me build the engine, getting the parts cleaned up. Should have wore a different shirt today. It's getting dirty, but my wife might be upset. She made this one for me, so she did it on her Cricut. Anyway, don't tell her. So getting the parts clean, valve covers, timing chain cover, and all that stuff. I got some other parts here we're gonna get cleaned up. And I really wanted to start on the frame today. I was gonna experiment with blasting it. Also figured out that this thing right here works pretty good. Getting the old undercoating off. I picked up this blast kit from Eastwood. We'll see how it works. You connect it to your pressure washer. You have to have a pretty high power pressure washer. We have a 3300, and hopefully that'll work. I got some after blasts, like a rust inhibitor. Also got this stuff for the frame. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna give it a try, see how it works. It's metallic silver finish, so I don't know if that's gonna be enough to do the whole frame. Probably not. I picked up a spray paint gun in case we decided we wanted to spray this. And I picked up some black diamond from Tractor Supply and a bucket and stuff. But basically, this thing is a vapor blaster. Hooks up to your pressure washer. You hook that hose there. That goes in the bucket with the sand. And hopefully we'll get some of that rust off of there. But I'm not going to make this thing perfect. It's just an old work truck. I want to get it running and have some fun with it. But we will experiment with getting the frame as cleaned up as we can. Maybe do some vapor blasting and painting and all that stuff. So stay tuned with me, guys. We got lots of projects going on around here. Just getting it cleaned up, you know, getting back in the groove here. It's the new year. Got Rusty behind me a little bit for now. I will be getting back on Rusty soon, but I need to get the Dragon done first. So I'm going to get all these parts cleaned up best I can. I might even put some in the Vapor Blaster and get them ready for paint. Take them over to Darrin's. He's going to help me build the engine. Hopefully I learned something in the process. But I wanted to get as much of this done first so he doesn't have to worry about it. He's got enough to worry about. So we just want to get all this old grease and dirt off of here, get it cleaned up. We've got the valve covers, the timing cover, got all the grease off of it. Inside's nice and clean. Most of the oil and grease is off of it, and we're gonna vapor blast them. We've got the pulleys, harmonic balancer, and some other stuff down here. We're gonna vapor blast. Get that over to Darrin's. This is the vapor blaster we're using, Vapor Honing Technologies. Those guys are awesome. This is the Weekend Warrior. I use it all the time. I use it so much I accidentally blasted the window, but I've got a replacement one coming. We've got the vapor blaster out here hooked up to the water, hooked up to the air. So you got high pressure air coming in, you got water coming in. We got our media that's in there right now. It's super fine media, and I'm just going to use that real quick to do the inside of this. And then we're going to change the media to do the outside because we want to paint this surface. And you want that to be a little bit rougher. But inside, I just want to get it clean and shiny. So we're gonna get this hooked up. This thing's pretty awesome. Stand by. Oh, I need to get power. Hook up the power real quick and we'll get it going. Stand by. We got the power hooked up and we got our foot pedal here. This is what engages the pump. That pumps the media up to the gun, and it also lets the air flow through. So you got high pressure air and you have water and media, and together that's vapor blasting, vapor honing, wet blasting. Let's get that part cleaned up. Let's see what it looks like. All right, so you see less than what, a minute. That little area here is nice and clean and shiny. We're gonna do that to the rest of the inside, and I'll pull it out and let you look at it. All right, guys, let's see what that piece looks like. It's been about, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. Okay, dig on the inside here. There's a few more spots I need to get in. You can see how clean it is. It's really nice. It's looking good. I don't know what happened there. Something was rubbing on the inside of there. Hopefully we can reuse this. I'm going to clean it up anyway, and we'll let Darren take a closer look at it, but got that old seal in there. I'm going to see if I can pop that seal out of there. I popped that seal out of there. It was bad, real deteriorated. Heavy duty solid seal right there, but the rubber is all shot out, so I'll get that cleaned up some more, and then I'm going to change the media, I think, because this is a real fine media and it almost polishes it. So that's not good for painting, but it's good for you know, aluminum, making it shine. We want to paint this side blue like the factory. So I'm going to change the media to a finer, to a more abrasive grit. I think it's a 220 grit that we're using, that we're going to use. Stand by. All right, guys, it is looking pretty good under here. Tiny little bit in there. Scrape that out. I'm going to change the media, and we're going to get this side all cleaned up and do the valve covers. Stand by. All right, guys, we're going to change the media. This is like a fine white mesh. We're going to take this out of here and drain everything into this tub. Here's the drain, main drain, secondary drain, overflow drain. So I got a little contraption I'm going to set up on here and drain it into the bucket. I need to get a hose. If I remember, soon I'm going to get a little threaded thing here and make a little hose or extend this pipe over so it just goes right into here. There it goes. So it'll fill up and let it settle. The media will settle at the bottom, and you just kind of drain the overflow onto the ground. That's pretty much it. There's still a bunch left inside the unit, so what you have to do is go in here. I'm going to pull this grate out of here, and then we'll spray it all out. There's an inch or two of media still at the bottom that we'll spray out. We'll get that all cleaned out, and then we'll put in our 220 grit. There's a little more aggressive grit here for getting rust and stuff off, and it preps it for paint. This grit, although it looks pretty dirty right now, it's normally white. That's more for polishing aluminum and steel that you are not going to paint. Like that right there. It's great for aluminum, polishing aluminum heads and stuff like that. It's beautiful. We're going to do this side with the 220 so we can paint it. Makes it a little more etched for the paint. So I got the grate out. You just tilt it this way and slide it out, and then it goes back in like that. So I'm going to take this hose and spray all this other mud out, get it all out. Get it cleaned up, ready for the new stuff. All right, we're getting there. This pump, you can pick the whole pump up, spray underneath it, but basically just sits right there in the middle and it sucks through these two vent tubes, sucks in the media, blasts it up through the tube to your gun. So there's media that gets up under the gloves. You want to spray under there, get all that out of there. Spray the top and everything. It gets up in here, gets on the door. So you just spray everything. Get it all out. All right, guys, we've got this pretty much all cleaned out. There's maybe a little tiny bit of residue at the bottom, not a big deal. It's clean. So you can see this is the fine mesh here. It's really super silky fine. This is just dirty water on top. The residue, the mesh goes to the bottom here. And it's dirty. Normally it's almost pure white. This will settle down. The mesh will stay on the bottom. The material will stay on the bottom. And we'll just scoop the water off. You'll lose a little bit, but not a lot. We're ready to put the new different grit in there. It's not new, I've used it before, but it's different. It's 220. This actually works pretty good, but I'm gonna get a hose. It's kind of rigged up a little bit. A little bit of material got caught in there, not a big deal. So we're gonna shut this off. And this is just the overflow. Once it gets this high, you need to drain it. So I usually just keep an eye on it, but this is what we're putting in there, 220. You should probably wear a dust mask when you're dumping it in there. A little bit of dust floating around. We're gonna spray this down. You fill it up to that first drain hole, and then you're ready to go. All right, guys, yeah, you're supposed to put the water in first, but I filled it up real good, just above that first drain hole. And I picked up the pump and I moved the media around underneath the pump and got it nice and mixed up. So the pump shouldn't get clogged. We'll find out pretty quick if it does. But it's got, you know, it's got room to breathe there, I think. Alright guys, let's do this side. Get that ready for paint. All right. See how it does more of a dull finish? That's the polished backside of the aluminum, and that's the 220 grit. It's a little more grayish, dull looking, but it'll adhere. The paint will adhere better to that on the outside here. Looking pretty good. Very happy with that. I did the oil dipstick too. Looking good. Warranty requires SC101C oil. Okay. Pretty sweet, right? Vapor blasters are awesome. Now, if you're working with steel, you need to make sure you put a little bit of this. I need a different container to dip this in, but I'm just gonna put some on here with my hand. On the steel parts, the aluminum, it doesn't need it, but this just keeps it from flash rusting. And it actually keeps it from rusting for a while. Depends on the humidity and all that, but it works pretty good. This is diluted in water. So, looking good. I'm gonna get the, so the compressor is on continuous run. That's why it's running right now. So what'll happen is it'll kick in when it needs to fill the tank up, but it won't completely turn off. It just stays running. That's supposed to help keep the engine cooler when you're doing a lot of blasting. All right, guys, let's see what happens with this. I'd like to save these if we could. See what happens. Got most of the grease and stuff off. So there's a little bit left in there, but all right, here we go. Then right around what, 60, 70, 50, 60, 70, 80. We could probably bring it down or go up, you know. The more you go up, the harder it is to see on the inside because of the pressure. That just doesn't have enough volume to get the pressure out of there. You get the steam out, but let's see what happens. Especially once you start blasting. And this media is a dark brown, so that even makes everything even harder to see. I'm gonna blast this for 1 minute. Let's see what happens. We'll start on the inside here. Now let's start on the outside. It's a little slippery from the diesel. Took a hit. Still with me? All right, let's give it a minute and see what happens. It'll probably take about 10 to do this whole thing, maybe 15. All right, it's been about a minute. Let's see what we got. I can see it's working pretty good. Looks like we got some dents here. I didn't notice those before. Unless that's just how it's designed. I don't think so. Anyway, I'm gonna spend about 15 minutes on this probably. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, about 15 minutes to do this. Stand by. About 7 minutes. Just wanted to see where we're at here. And in 7 minutes, 7, 8 minutes, something like that, maybe 10, just round it up to 10. This is where we're at. So, 10 minutes on this side, maybe another 10 on this side. This side might not be as bad. There's no paint, but there is grease, so. It might do better with a harder mesh. And this is 220, so you probably could do a little bit harder, but for 10 minutes, not bad. I mean, it's super, when you get all that stuff off there, it's super smooth and ready for paint. So I'm gonna spend another 10, 15 minutes on this one and move on to the next. Well, we got some of the parts done. We'll get more done tomorrow. We'll make a trip over to Darrin's, drop some of this stuff off. I'm gonna go pick up the engine block and the pistons, rods, stuff from the machine shop, take them over to Darrin's so he can work his magic on them. We're probably gonna replace the cam, but he wanted to look at it, take a look at it, see how bad it was. All right, guys, stay tuned.
Rod bearings, main bearings. gasket kit, cam lifters. Decided you want to put a high volume oil pump in it. Probably like 30-40 bucks. I would suggest that. And you got the brass freeze plugs.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, you did a nice job on it, man. Man, I paid to have mine bored, line hone, and everything. I didn't get mine back with freeze plugs in it.
Yeah, you hooked me up, man.
You did a good job, man. It'll be a nice little motor for sure. No problem with this thing.
Cool.
It's down the road.
We're over at Darrin's house. He's gonna help me put the Dragon engine back together.
The FE. I love these motors.
FE, it's a FE 360.
Yep.
And it's still gonna be a 360 when we're done,
It'll
right?
still be a 360, but you know, it's a really robust motor. It's a piece of history for sure. We'll clean up some of these, burrs in here. Somebody's already, we took it to the machine shop and had new cam bearings put in it, new freeze plugs, did the galley plugs.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Looks like he put it in the oven and baked it.
Yeah.
Everything's perfectly clean.
Mm-hmm.
We got our heads ready to go inside, and as soon as we get some bearings and stuff, we'll do an assembly video, and then he'll be driving this thing.
That'd be nice. I got a little more work to do on the truck.
Yeah.
Clean.
How you coming on the chassis and stuff? You still got the body off?
I got the body off. I got to strip the frame, paint it, do all that stuff, but hopefully it'll come together.
Gonna blast the frame and do some chassis paint on it.
Yeah. Just get all the rust
Eastwood's
off.
got some really good black chassis paint. I just did my friend's 32 Redster.
Yeah.
Yeah, we painted the motor and did the frame with Eastwood, and he was really happy.
Nice.
Good stuff.
When you gonna get that Nova back on the road?
Soon, man. Trying to get everybody else's stuff done first.
Trying to get all CT stuff done first.
Well, like I told you, man, if you don't take projects on, you don't do anything. So
Yep.
you either bury yourself in mushrooms or what's that?
Mushrooms.
Yeah, what are mushrooms grow in? I don't know. Okay, we have CT's FE motor here.
Yep.
And CT's picked it up from the machine shop. We have our brass freeze plugs installed, our new galley plugs installed, our new cam bearings installed, and the block has been hot tanked. We're gonna just do a basic rebuild on this. We're gonna ring it and put a set of bearings in. We had the crank polished. So we're gonna need a double roller timing set. We're gonna need a milling high volume oil pump. We're gonna need rod bearings and main bearings, standard on both. And we're gonna need a file fit set of rings for a stock bore. So that'll let us tailor the gap and file the ring and make the gap where it needs to be.
Who makes the rings?
Any company will have a file fit ring. Grant, Hastings, I'm sure if you just go to Jegs, you'll be able to find a ring set. They're probably about 35, 40 bucks.
Okay.
Very cheap. And this is what we file them with. This is a ring filer. And you get the file fit rings because as the cylinder wears, the hole gets bigger. And when you get a file fit ring, you can customize the ring gap. It comes a little tight, so you can tailor it to each cylinder. So we want to file fit the rings, little stuff like that will make a big difference in how the motor runs. And I think that'll pretty much complete it. We'll definitely need a gasket kit, obviously you know that. We'll need a full set.
And we're gonna get a new cam.
We're gonna get a cam and a set of lifters. This cam looks like the lobes are starting to go on them. They're getting a little rounded off. More than likely this thing started running bad when the zinc got pulled out of the oil. You can see this lobe here is completely compromised. See how it's all pitted?
Yeah.
So these are Parkerized is what this is the finish that's on these from the factory. And it's like a hardened finish where the lifter rides on it. And when that coating wears off or the oil doesn't have the zinc to cushion between the lifter and the lobe, you start getting wear.
Right.
So
new cam and lifters.
Yep.
We're reusing the heads and the crank.
We rebuilt the heads. So we refaced all the valves, we cut the seats, we shimmed the springs up 15 thousandths because that's what I had to cut the seats. And we have some new seals on there. Those are good, ready to go, resurfaced them. And yeah, so all we really need to concentrate on right now is the bottom end and getting the parts that we need. And we can
New timing chain,
Yep.
all that stuff. Cool.
Yeah, I would get a double chain. The factory one is a single chain, and they stretch pretty quick. So a double chain is real. Everything for this motor is very cheap.
Yeah.
That's why these old Fords are good to build, dude. I mean, you know, it's so basic.
Yeah.
This is like the people's version of a Volkswagen for American car guys, man. You know, this is the V8 that built America right here.
Cool. I'm excited, man.
Yep. This thing's got some rich NASCAR history. If you, research the FE motor.
Yeah.
These were quite the engine back in the day. They have this large skirt area here, and the crank's like in the skirt of the block, which is a good design. But you can see how the Hemi has hardly any area down here. You know, the mains pretty much hang out of the bottom of the motor.
Yeah.
Crank's encased in this. It'd be nice if it was a 427 side oiler, you know. If you could find one of those, that'd be a really cool build.
Yeah, we'll have to look for one.
Yeah, you find them in old boats. Little FYI.
Really?
They were called Commandos.
Really?
They had the 428 is what they like to use, and it was like the Super Cobra Jet version of the FE. You know, it had really nice cylinder heads on it and cross-bolted center mains.
Very cool. To look
Yeah,
for one of those.
this should run very well. I think you'll be happy with it.
And I'm gonna order a new intake manifold, aluminum, and a
Yeah, we'll go with the
4-barrel.
We'll go with the aluminum intake. The intake manifold on this motor is 80 pounds, and the aftermarket one's 30.
Yeah.
So, you know, just putting the intake on or having to do work on the truck, it just makes it a lot nicer. I do have a 4-barrel one over there. I noticed online those things are selling for like $400 or $200.
Really?
Well, you know,
Wow.
the Elbrock intake's $450, I think. They're not cheap because of the mass of it. You know, the intake actually incorporates the upper valve head rail there.
Right.
It's part of the cylinder head.
Yeah. So that's an original one?
Yeah, it's the original one off the 390.
Yeah. That's cool. So we'll get the aluminum one.
Yeah, I would definitely get the aluminum one. I've read a bunch of articles about not buying used ones because of the port alignment, and they're not bolted down properly. They tend to warp.
Yeah.
So.
And we'll need to get a bolt set for that too, right?
Yeah,
To bolt those on?
you know, get an ARP intake bolt set.
ARP?
Probably like $22, and it'll be a really nice 12-point, and it'll be coated.
Okay.
Yeah, anything you can buy ARP for this thing would be, you know, really nice addition. Like they make pan bolt kit, they make a timing cover kit, they make all kinds of bolts for this,
Okay.
and they're really cheap. So
All right.
it's not like buying Volkswagen parts. I don't know how to explain it. You know, you're buying more stuff, but you get more for your money.
Right.
I don't know if it's because Volkswagens are just more of a specialty thing now, but it's amazing how economical you can take one of these old motors and make it run and, you know, have some fun with it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get this thing going, man.
Yeah, hopefully this will, you know, motivate you to do some more cool stuff. Did you buy that Mopar? Did you buy this the last video? You guys went and looked at all that stuff?
No, the Mopar's not for sale. Not yet anyway. But some of the old trucks.
He's gonna start fixing that Mopar any day now?
Supposedly.
You ever watch
see.
Patrick Glenn Nichols?
Uh-uh.
He goes around the country and he looks for original SS Chevelles. That's his specialty.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you find a Chevelle and the seller says it's an SS and you want to have it authenticated, he travels around and, you know, authenticates them. He's the man. He
Wow.
knows where all the hidden numbers are at. He knows how to decipher the VIN codes. And a lot of what he does is drive around and find these old cars. And a lot of times he'll find a perfectly good Chevelle sitting in the yard.
Yep.
And he'll knock on the door, and the people will politely tell him no thank you. And the car had been sitting there since their son went off to the war in the 70s.
Right.
And a lot of times it's either a sentimental deal where you can't get the car to restore it,
Yep.
or the other thing they say 9 times out of 10 is, I'm getting ready to restore it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all guilty of it.
The
I know
dream.
I have way too many projects.
Yeah.
And,
Like
yeah.
this one here.
Yeah, that's my FE. One day I'll buy something to put that in. I don't really have anything to put it in, but you know, it's
Yeah, we might have to find something.
been a little project. I'd like to put it together one day. It's got a nice little rumpety cam in it. And, Nice set of cylinder heads.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, I'm thinking about maybe buying a rotating assembly for it and beefing that up a little bit.
That'd be cool.
I just got to come across the right pickup truck.
Short bed, 60s F100.
Oh, it wouldn't have to be a short bed. I'd go for a long bed.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I said, it's just all about the old iron, man. It's just something about it. It's takes you back when you drive it, and it was just a simpler time.
The simplicity of it,
You know, these trucks build the world that we live in now. I mean, I know trucks are a lot more complicated and really expensive now.
Yep.
But stuff used to be built to do work, you know? And this used to be the staple in U-Hauls. And I had a friend that worked at U-Haul, and he was constantly drilling out broken bolts on 390 cylinder heads. And I can remember we would rent U-Hauls. I think it was like $12 a day, and we would rent those and tow our race cars to the races in North Carolina. And we almost always had an exhaust leak coming home. But
Standard.
standard.
We're gonna put
We put headers. I gave you some headers, didn't I?
yeah, will they fit on here?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Put dual exhaust on it. It'll sound really good. Get a little rumpy rump cam in there. Just a steak and shake cam. Nothing that's gonna kill the valve springs or anything.
Yeah.
I know Howard makes some good cams, and I know that Summit definitely has an FE cam in their Summit cam line for $100. So, and I'm sure it would sound good. I mean, really, that camshaft is gonna affect the performance of the motor. We have to replace it just because it's a wear item.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's gonna be a nice, solid build. It's not gonna be a race truck or anything. It's gonna
You can take a picture of this part number on this cam. This is a Howard. You'd have to go to Competition Products and look that up. I don't know exactly what I paid for it, but I bought the cam and the lifter kit, and this is a decent cam.
Guys, stay tuned for this build. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna build it here in Darrin's shop.
Yep.
Keep an eye out for those engine build videos. There'll probably be 2 or 3 of them.
Yep, and thanks for commenting on the videos and stuff. I don't get to go over to CT's videos and comment on them, but I do appreciate you guys leaving the kind comments, and I really enjoy working with CT. He has some cool projects, and looking forward to this year, seeing what we can mess up.
Yeah, we're gonna do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we got nothing else to do, right?
No, not really. All right, guys. See ya.